Thousands are forced to flee as aftershocks from two powerful earthquakes rock southwestern Japan. Police identify an 18-year-old as the victim of Wednesday's shooting at Yonge and Bloor. And a chief executive says the AMC theater chain may permit texting in a move to encourage millennial ticket sales. Hi, and welcome to Humber News. I'm Nick Westall, coming to you from our newsroom here at Humber College North Campus. We begin today with breaking news out of Japan that a 7.1 magnitude earthquake has hit southern parts of the country just hours after two powerful quakes rocked the nation. A tsunami advisory has been issued. Local media say two quakes have killed at least 9 people, and there are reports that more than 900 have been injured. The 6.2 and 6.4 magnitude earthquakes shook the affected areas yesterday and early this morning. The iconic Kumamoto Castle was badly damaged as a result. More than 100 initial aftershocks have been recorded. Police rescued an 8-month-old baby girl this morning from the ruins of a collapsed home. It took rescuers 6 hours to reach her. The town of Mashiki was one of the worst hit by the powerful quakes. In March 2011, a 9.0 magnitude quake struck offshore north of Tokyo, causing a tsunami that killed nearly 20,000 people. Closer to home, we have an update on one of our stories from earlier this week. Police have identified the victim of a fatal shooting at Yonge and Bloor on Wednesday night. 18-year-old Gabriel Nikov was reportedly shot 5 times after an altercation at the busy intersection. He was found at the scene without vital signs and pronounced dead shortly after. Police are seeking 3 suspects, all white males. Nikov was a grade 11 student at Central Toronto Academy. The Toronto District School Board says although it's a PA day at the school today, staff will be available for students seeking support. In Ottawa, the Supreme Court has handed down 2 key rulings against tough-on-crime reforms originally introduced by the last Conservative government. The court has ruled that a mandatory minimum sentence of 1 year in prison for a drug offense violates the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. It also unanimously ruled that a person denied bail should receive credit for time served before sentencing. And a heads up, if you're traveling throughout Toronto this weekend, your commute will be a little bit harder. The City of Toronto will be conducting annual spring maintenance on the Don Valley Parkway. The highway closes at 11 o'clock tonight and will reopen in time for the morning rush hour on Monday. Crews have a lot to do this weekend. They will be resurfacing part of the DVP, inspecting bridges, maintaining signs and markings, and fixing lights and signs. And if you take the TTC, you aren't off the hook. The transit agency will be suspending service on Line 1 between Lawrence West and St. George stations on Saturday and Sunday. Workers will be doing signal upgrades, but don't worry, shuttle buses will be running. Overseas now, ongoing battles in Syria are casting a shadow over peace talks in Geneva. A delegation representing Bashar al-Assad's regime arrived in Geneva today as part of an international effort to end the war. More than 270,000 people are dead and millions have fled their homes since the war began. Meanwhile, government-led airstrikes still plague Aleppo despite a UN-brokered ceasefire. Troops have battled militants in a fierce struggle to regain occupied territories over the last 5 years. And Pope Francis heads to Greece this weekend. He'll be meeting with the spiritual head of the world's Orthodox Christians in Lesbos to discuss the migrant crisis. This meeting will end hundreds of years of dispute between the religious leaders. Together, they'll visit the Moira refugee camp, where more than 3,000 refugees are trapped. Many could be sent back to Turkey if their asylum applications are rejected.
Refugees need to know that their voice is being heard. Refugees need to see that someone is speaking on their behalf. It's extremely important that someone of his standing is able to express concern and able to rally support.
The spiritual leaders will personally meet with about 250 migrants and hold a prayer service to honor any who died recently. Turning our attention to south of the border for the U.S. primary race, where both Republicans and Democrats are in New York. All three Republican candidates were in Manhattan last night for the Republican Gala. Both John Kasich and Ted Cruz took shots at Donald Trump, saying that he's damaging the party. Trump used the moment to remind the other candidates of how this primary season is going.
Right now, millions of votes ahead of my closest rival. Millions of votes. You know, people don't talk about votes anymore. They talk delegates. By the way, I happen to be hundreds of delegates ahead, too.
And wherever Trump goes, protests follow. This was the scene outside of the gala yesterday. 11 protesters were arrested after rushing the hotel with an anti-Trump banner. From one rowdy scene to another, Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders faced off in debate last night, and it was a noisy one. Sanders attacked Clinton's relationship with Wall Street and how she financed her campaign.
Secretary Clinton called them out. Oh, my goodness. They must have been really crushed by this. 43 lobbyists for the fossil fuel industry maxed out, gave the maximum amount of money to Secretary Clinton's campaign.
Our greater disaster.
Polls show Clinton leading in her home state and Trump leading for the Republicans. New York State votes on Tuesday. Returning to international news, Prince William and Duchess Kate are the star attraction in India and Bhutan this week. It's the 7th day of their tour of the two countries. Today they made their way to a historic Buddhist monastery known as the Tiger's Nest. It's a 3-hour trek to 3,000 feet above sea level. Tomorrow they return to India to visit the iconic Taj Mahal. Will's parents made a similar trip in 1992, where Princess Diana was famously photographed sitting alone on a beach, becoming a symbol of their unhappy marriage. Peru is wrapped up in its latest discovery. Archaeologists have found 6 mummies. The mummified remains were found in the Ancon district of Peru. The objects removed are 1,000 years old and appear to be a woman surrounded by textiles and offerings. The Ministry of Culture says the artifacts belong to a pre-Columbian civilization. The archaeological site contains many ancient burial grounds, and 6 more are being excavated. The first round of the world's solar-powered plane trip is ready for takeoff again after a 9-month touchdown in Hawaii. Solar Impulse 2 has been in Hawaii since July because of a battery damage caused during its 5-day record-breaking flight. The team working on the aircraft says the damage was caused by a miscalculation in temperature changes and tropical climate. The plane's batteries take up energy from the sun during the day so the aircraft can fly around the clock. Solar Impulse 2 takes off this weekend, this time flying to Phoenix, Arizona. Texting can be a bit of a distracting habit and annoying to others, especially when you are at the movie theater. The AMC theater chain considered allowing people to text in some of their theaters, but that quickly took a turn. Our reporter Katie Jones spoke to local moviegoers to gauge their reaction.
If you feel the need to text or email someone during the movie, don't do it. That bright light and clicking is annoying to everyone around you.
Big movies, big decisions. AMC's president Adam Aron caused an online debate when he released that America's second largest movie theater was considering making theaters texting friendly. Aron suggested that allowing people to use their phones in theaters would get people coming to the movies. We asked Humber students what they thought of the idea.
It could be annoying. Yeah. I've seen that even in restaurants. Like, everybody's life depends on their phone and texting. So, yeah. No, it just disturbs people. It just doesn't make you focus on the movie.
I like it because I feel like it's distracting during the movies, and you don't want to have someone next to you texting and their phone going off.
I mean, it kind of makes sense because, so many people are trying to be on their phones in the movie anyways, but I think it's stupid at the same time because what's the point of going to a movie if you're just going to text all the time?
AMC tweeted Friday morning that they decided to not go ahead with the idea because of the negative feedback.
I understand why they considered it, but I think it was a smart choice not to do it because they would lose so many customers.
Yeah.
They wouldn't want to go because there's so many other choices.
I don't know. Like I said, people's life revolves around their phones all the time.
So sometimes new isn't always better, and it seems people are happy with the way we've always done it. So for now, sit back and enjoy the show. Katie Jones, Humber News.
When we come back, we'll tell you what's happening in the world of sports And Marino Greco will have your 3-day forecast.
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, people are wearing shorts way too early, and things will only get better this weekend. I'll have your full forecast coming up.
But for now, we leave you with this. We've got some dramatic video from Japan today of a chimp going ape. It all occurred after 24-year-old Cha-Cha escaped from a northern Japan zoo. You can see the veterinarian shoot the ape with a tranquilizer gun, angering him to attempt an attack. Check out this shocking image of the close call. The capture took a dramatic turn when the tranquilizer started kicking in. Cha-Cha fell from the pole and missed the workers' nets below. Don't worry though, Cha-Cha is said to have made a full recovery.